Dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, now we reached our final part of the meeting. This, in my opinion, is the most important one. This is evaluation part, when we give feedback to all the speakers we've seen on the stage. And now we'll begin this evaluation. And we'll start with the first speaker, Nicholas Ivanov, and we'll hear which evaluation will provide his personal evaluator, Gaia Ganesian.
It's interesting to listen stories from your personal life. So I'd like to start my evaluation with the things I liked most of all. The first thing I liked most of all was just your story. And also I liked the topic you chose today. It was very good for today's meeting. Your beginning was also really strong. And you used very unusual ways and very original ways to pay attention of this girl. I liked your structure, like you mentioned, different ways how you did what you did for her. And you used, the word usage was also great. Then I'd like to continue with my recommendations. First of all, don't look at the floor when you are speaking. You are speaking about the girl, and there is no girl on the floor. Maybe you can look up and say, oh yes, I remember this girl. So it's better to pay more attention on it. And your ending. You said that there is no motivation in your speech, but I think in any speech you can find motivation. In your speech especially. Your motivation was not to give up, even if this girl doesn't answer you. So yes, there was motivation. I don't agree that no motivation. And in conclusion, I'd like to mention that you're a real romantic. So, and maybe this girl was married, or she had a boyfriend, and because of it she didn't answer you. Or if she didn't do it, she wasn't married and she was just single. Maybe she was too shy. And I don't want to say, or maybe she is a bit stupid because she didn't answer such boy as you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gaia. Great evaluation. And now, the second speaker is Kristina Sharikina. As you have seen, Kristina took at least two roles on this meeting, the role of the speaker and the role of the table topic master. And as you know, for speakers we have written evaluation as so that I, as your personal evaluator, I'll give you feedback in written form. And now I'd like to say a few words about Kristina's table topic. Kristina, your table topic, brilliant idea. I have never seen such ideas, such topics before, but I have one recommendation for you. In my opinion, this topic was a bit hard for newcomers, and as you know, this part of the meeting is to encourage newcomers to come on the stage and participate in the meeting. That's why I'd recommend you in the next table topics to use more simple themes, simple topics to perform. All in all, thank you very much. It was cool, really cool. I participated and I felt it myself. Okay, and the next speaker, Gaia. Gaia, you're a personal evaluator and speaker. Now let's hear Anastasia Kolodina and her evaluation of Gaia.
Thank you very much. Dear fellow Toastmasters, dear newcomers, dear guests, dear Gaia. That wasn't prepared, but I think that's a good way to start my evaluation, because first of all I wanted to thank you on part of all the girls, I guess, in this room, as well as all the Toastmasters girls, on addressing this really long tortured question, which I guess everybody in the audience was asked. Now let's get back to the evaluation and see in detail how well you did in terms of the objectives of your project. So I would like to remind that your project was number 9, Persuade with Power. So now let us see how well you did in terms of your objectives. First of all, I would like to say that you managed to state a problem which you dwelt upon in the process of your speech. So you asked a question, and it was a really catchy beginning. And you also made a point, you showed that this question was important for the audience by asking actually how many people could relate to it, so how many girls especially were ever asked these questions in their life. And that is a very strong point. Well done. Second, your part, which was based on arguments, consisted of 2 major pillars. So the first one was logic, and the second one was emotion. So the logical part was based on that famous Drake equation. And I, as a lover of math, would like to thank you more on that. I really liked the way you explained in details all the components of your Drake equation. So how you actually arrived to that possibility of meeting an ideal man. So you showed us all the components one by one. But you did not only do that. You didn't stop by saying, well, that's the possibility of meeting an ideal man, that's really low, full stop. No. Actually, what you did, and what I would like to point out as a strong point of your speech, is that you provided a comparison. That meeting an ideal man is almost as impossible as meeting an alien, which reinforces your argument and shows people that it is really very hard to meet an ideal man. Also, going on, talking about the second pillar of your speech, the emotional part. Again, I would like to show that you built it on 2 major things. The first one was humor. You even managed to introduce it into your logical part when you were showing us the Drake equation. You already made us feel that that was all kind of nonsense and that you shouldn't actually judge your future life based on that mathematical thing. And second part is that you also used some more serious emotional arguments, I would say more aspirational ones, which actually was as a conclusion to your speech. To sum it all up, I would like to say that the general organization of your speech was a very effective one. I really liked it. As I already showed, it consisted of all the necessary parts. My only recommendation is that probably you used a little bit stronger conclusion. So in future, when you make a strong, especially emotional point, I think it is worth repeating it in the end once again, or maybe even twice, in order for the audience to understand what you would like them to do, to act, to change their opinion, to be inspired, or whatever. So that's actually it. Thank you very much for this very interesting, very humorous speech. And go on with your project. Good luck.
It was a great evaluation, actually. However, I have seen that our timer showed you a red signal and keep it up. That's why I recommend you try to make your evaluation a bit shorter. Possibly, you should use a structure where you first say about advantages, then good things that you'd recommend to make better, and then disadvantages or weak parts of the speech that the speaker should work on. It's a simple 3-phase evaluation. Oh, thank you. Well, it's my recommendation, my own opinion. And now it's time to ask our experts to make their reports, and we'll start with our grammarian, Nika, please.
Honestly, I switched on table topics my session because I knew that speakers had a great level of English. That's why it was rather difficult to find any mistakes in their speeches. In fact, there was a little problems with pronunciation. I wouldn't pronounce at the end G. When I say, for example, interesting, I would say interesting. But it's a little problem. I had it too, so it's okay. And I would say when you first time hear it, I would say for the first time. I has been going to eat. I would say I have been going to eat. She thinking of me, or maybe she is thinking of me, or she thinks of me. And that's all the problems. And who who used this phrase of the day? It was Nicholas Ivanov once. Thank you. That's all.
Well,
Okay.
the time is passing by, but it's okay. Then our next expert, who counts filler words, Polina Sarashova. Please, make your appearance.
To take results, I listen, and I think this is our problem. A lot of sounds. Maybe this is difficult topics. Love, it's feeling, yeah, and a lot of words. So a lot of each speaker, but more or little, for example, me, and Ivan, for example, so A is very often, but it's a common picture, yes, and Nicholas and I listen, but very often, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. It was your first role you took in our club, or you took ever, and I think that for the first time your report was quite good enough.
Oh, thank you.
We have the last expert who has controlled the time of the meeting, and now I'd like to welcome to the stage Ivan Kravchenko, the main report.
Thankfully, everyone fit in time perfectly. Only 1 second. Christina and Gaia were close to the time limit. They achieved
Today, and I'd like to make some comments and recommendations to the speakers. And I'll start with Toastmaster Anatoly Bursov. Anatoly, as I know, it was your first day when you Toastmastered the meeting. And I found that your part was well prepared, well organized. I saw you done a great job at home. Thank you very much. I noticed smooth transitions between each part of your presentation of roles and other activities. Actually, I'd recommend you to make them more close to each other, because you told when presenting one role, you told us about one man. When presenting another role, you told us about another man. I'd like you to join these two parts in one single story. I think that would be better in another case. And my strong recommendation for you, I noticed that you was very nervous. Your movements were rapid. In the beginning of your part, you started to moving on the stage from one side to another side. Why did you do that? I don't know. That's why I'd recommend you to try to stay more relaxed. Stay in the one place of the stage when explaining what you are going to do. Then move to another place, and it would be very, very good for you. Well, regarding to our thought of the day, Julia, it was your first role too, as I know, and your presentation was strong, and I like it. I found the structure in it. You told us about 3 things about love, about conditions of love, yeah?
Yeah.
And my small recommendation for you, when you are on the stage or coming to the stage, don't show your back to the audience, even when one of the participants asks you to do something on the stage. And all another things were great done. Thank you. About our accounter, Polina. It was nice presentation, but you spoke with notes. And the next time when you take the role, please try to rehearse your presentation at home, and then when you are on the stage, don't use them. Okay. Regarding to our grammarian, Nika, it's a thing that we faced every time we use visual aids or presentations. You used your presentations, and the half of your time you spoke not with the audience, you spoke with a notebook, seeing in it in the presentation. That's why you please try to maintain eye contact or other contact with the audience, and your presentation will look better. I think this is my final word for today, and now I'd like to pass the word to Kristina Sharikina.